Greetings, class. So, for this presentation, this is your training for entry of data into CRSTAR registry software. So, I'm going to be your guide for this instructional period. Um, and so, we're going to cover some what I call, or what you'll also call, as housekeeping tools. So before I give you access, to CRSTAR, there are some important things that you must remember. You never should contact CRSTAR for any reason in relationship to this program or using CRSTAR at Santa Barbara City College. The instructor will handle all issues related to CRSTAR. You never want to tell the computer to save your CRSTAR password. This is the hospital system. There is one system that's used for the hospital, and this is it with CRSTAR. So this is the identical same system that you would use if you were working in a hospital that used CRSTAR. Never create your own accession number. It is generated by the software. There are multiple users in the registry database at any given time. No two patients should ever have the same accession number, and that is accomplished by having the software always generate the accession number. And we'll talk more about what an accession number is later on if you don't already know, but we want to make sure that you know that you would never create your own accession number. Now, this link here is actually the address, and you should save this link because will be the login page for CRSTAR. And so this is what the login page would look like. Okay. So this is the login page. And this is the link that will get you to that page. Now, the instructor will provide you with a username and a password to log in once you have viewed this training and documented these 3 statements, so that I know you have watched this video and that I know you will not contact CRSTAR for any reason. The instructor handles all CRSTAR issues. You'll never tell the computer to save your password. You will write it down in a secure location, and it is a password that you will create. And you never create your own accession number. The accession number is a unique identifier for a patient within your registry. This is the address for the CRSTAR. Again, the instructor will provide you with a username and password, and the instructor, for purposes of logging in, the last part of your username is going to be at ers0503.com. Again, at ers0503.com. So you're going to put the first part of your username, which is going to be the first initial, your first name, your last name, and then you add this. That will be your username. Once you have indicated that you've completed this training, I will provide you with 2 things. I will provide you with your medical record number, your series of medical record numbers, and I will also provide you with password to gain initial access. And once you gain initial access to CRSTAR, then you will change that password. So I'm going to give you a dummy password, and you will change that once you log in. It will automatically generate it indicates that you need to create a new password. So once you create it, write it down so you know where it is. Okay. Your medical record numbers, everybody will have a unique number. The first part of everybody's number will begin with 2024 and a 0. Then you will have a 2-digit number that follows that is unique to you and you only. Okay. And then for your first patient, you would use that unique series of numbers. And then the first patient that you enter into that registry database, their medical record number will be that unique number of yours plus 001. And then the next patient you enter will be that unique number plus 002. And the next patient you enter will be that unique number in 003. You have to keep a log of all the medical record numbers you use because you should never duplicate a medical record number. Because if you enter a medical record number that has already been used, then the system is going to pull the accession number that matches that medical record number. So make sure you do not duplicate a medical record number. Now, this will continue on. So after you enter your fourth patient would be your 2024049003 or whatever your 2 digits were here. And again, everybody's digits will be different. Okay, you have to keep a log of all the numbers that you use. So you want to always keep a log of the accession number for each patient that the registry software generated. And you want to keep the medical record number, the name of the patient. All data and cases in the registry database are fictitious. We have no actual patient data in the registry database. All cases that you will be working with and entering in the registry database are fictitious cases. The only actual live piece of information you will be entering in the registry is an address, and you want to use a public address. In each case you enter, you're going to use the same public address, but you're going to put in a different apartment number. And the reason you have to use a public address is the system will recognize and give an error message if you create a fictitious address. And so we're not doing that. We're going to use an actual public place as the address. So I've chosen, as you can see here, these are different locations of libraries in California. So when I go to enter my data, I'm going to use one of these addresses for my data and for my particular patient. You will be creating your own names for your patients, and you will have information on the case to enter the remaining data. Now I'm just going to just show you how to do the basic entry into CRSTAR. There are additional videos that will show you how to do each screen of CRSTAR. Posted in the module section is a CRSTAR user manual, and it has all the guidance for entering the patient abstract, etc. So it's like your manual version of training. This is the CRSTAR database. So once you get to your login page, so you're gonna post this address in your link, and then you come to this page. Then you're gonna enter your user ID. Now remember, your user ID is the first initial of your first name and your last name. And then it's going to be at ers0503.com. And that represents the database for Santa Barbara City College Hospital. So this is the Santa Barbara City College Hospital registry database. And then you will enter your password, which you create after I give you oh, it's making me create a new password. So after you do the initial password, they will have you create another password. Okay. So since they prompted me that I must create a password, and so you will be essentially doing the same process. So when you put in the password that I gave you, it will prompt you to put in another uh, password, and that's what you would do. Okay, so I'm putting in now the new password that I created before I can get to what it is that I want to get to. So this is the first screen you will see. And you'll have a little dashboard up here with data on it. You will not be able to edit this dashboard. And I have to enter your name into the registry database for you to actually be able to access it. So if after you do this training, you attempt to enter the registry database and you can't get in, just double check with me and make sure I have entered your data into the registry database so the system knows you are a registrar for the uh, Santa Barbara City College Hospital registry. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to hit abstract management, and we're going to be enter a new patient. So after you hit abstract management, you're going to select patient abstract. You will come across this field. Now, once you come across this field, we're going to enter a new patient into the registry. So your very first patient, you're going to come down here and you're going to say new patient. Now, there's certain information that's going to be standard for all of us because remember, we're entering fictitious information. So the social security number is going to always be unknown. So it's going to be a series of nines equal to the number of digits in a social security number. Okay. Now you can get to the next field that you have to fill in either by clicking in that field or hitting your tab key and it will take you down. So I'm going to create a fictitious last name. Uh, and this I'm going to use Sash. Your name should be mixed case. And then I'm going to create patient's name, and then so you're doing the last name, the first name. We've already did the social security number. Then we're going to tab down to the phone number. You only have to put in one phone number and again fictitious number. So the same number of nines that would be part of a phone number. And this data item, the phone number, this data item field can never be left blank, or it's going to give you an edit because that's a required data field of the Commission on Cancer. Now, next we're going to put in an address. And remember, I told you I was going to use this address here. And so I'm just going to do a copy and I'm going to jump backwards and forth because I'm going to put this address in. I'm going to, under address 2, I'm going to put apartment 1. And I need to make this uppercase letters because your address should be in all uppercase. Okay, street, and it's going to be apartment 1. And the current city is Sacramento. And oops. Okay, and I gotta make this in all caps. So ACRA. Okay, so we got Sacramento in here. We got okay, and then we need to put in the zip code, which was 95 and it's only the 5-digit zip code that you're entering. And you enter the zip code. the current county. So you're going to look on your drop-down menu for the current county, and I'm looking for Sacramento. Did I pass it? Oh, usually it's in alphabetical order. Okay, so it's 034. The country is going to be USA. So remember, any of these data items, you can actually type it in, or you just look up the information. And so we're looking for United States. And it's going to be USA. So I would never, normally I would use the drop down menu because I know it's USA, and I would type that in. So the date of birth is the date of birth of your patient, and I'm just going to put in a date of birth for purposes of this class. And so you would put in what your patient's actual date of birth is. Birth country, we're going to say that the patient was born in the USA, and the state was again California. And we're going to say our patient is a female. Now, the coding instructions for sex is in the store manual, but I'm just going to look in this drop down menu and enter that in. Now, I'm not going to complete all these data fields. I'm gonna talk about them. I'm gonna talk about them on this first screen. So we're gonna walk through this first screen. So race will also be found in your store manual. I'm just going to select white, which is code 01. The patient has no other races, so all the other data fields will be 88. You'll find that coding instruction in the SEER program coding and staging manual. Race 1 is found in the store manual. Okay. Um, and then you can either type them in, or you can select them off the drop-down menu. My patient is non-Hispanic. Ethnicity represents Hispanic and non-Hispanic origin. If another Hispanic origin applies, the instructions for that is in your store manual. So the items that are in your manuals are in an abbreviated form in the database, but the database does not include the entire instruction for coding. And so you always check your manuals when you're coding. So the patient and family history, this would also actually come from the drop down menus, and you could either, if there's no data documented for that item, you're going to put unknown. If you have information available, then you're going to put that in. Remember that when you're putting codes in, this is a 2-digit code, so your unknown values will be a 2-digit code. We're going to leave this field blank. This particular field asks, have you asked the patient, is it okay to contact the patient for research studies, etc., or something of that nature? So the patient has to be asked that question. That question has to be asked and documented somewhere in order for you to code that item. You have to put in an occupation. If you don't know what the patient's occupation is, you're going to type unknown. You never want to type retired, because retired is not an occupation, and that does not provide any data that's usable. So you have to either put unknown or state what the occupation is in the industry. For instance, if the occupation was registered nurse, and the registered nurse worked in the hospital, then the business industry would be hospital. So the occupation would be registered nurse, the business industry would be hospital. There is a document in your module section on occupation and industry. In your comment sections, oftentimes you would either use it to put data that explains something, information on this page, but also I want you to document whatever case you are coding. So if it's a breast case and it's breast case A, then that's what I want you to put in. I'm just going to use that for this purpose for right now. We're going to call this a breast case. S&A relates to suspense and abstract. So when the case first is entered into the registry database, the preliminary data is entered. Any cases are entered that may need to be abstracted. And then when they do a thorough review and you decide that the case is actually going to be abstracted, then you select abstract. You change the S to A. Flag means there are 5 flags here. So we will be using incomplete for our cases because when we start out our cases, they're incomplete. So we're going to use incomplete. Uh, so the N is for cases that will never transfer to the state. The Y is used when the case is ready to be transferred to the state. And once the case transmits to the state, it'll convert to a T. The Y is used to identify the cases that need to be pulled and sent to the state. And the registrar that is doing it would use this data field to identify those cases. Now, if a case goes to the state or whoever, and there needs to be corrections, then the C is used. So again, we're going to use I to indicate that our case is incomplete. Now, this is a breast case, so I know the site code for breast is 50, but if you didn't know that was the site code, you would come up here and in the description, you would type breast, and it will give you that site code. Okay, the sequence number represents the number of cancers the patient has had. And so if the patient has had one and only one cancer, the sequence number is going to be 0, 0. Okay, and then when the patient has their second cancer, then the first cancer becomes 0, 1. You change the 0, 0 to 0, 1, and that second cancer that you enter up on this next line is going to be 0, 2. Now, we are the main hospital in our Santa Barbara City College network. We're the main hospital. So we're going to be Hospital 01. That's a abbreviated indicator for the hospital. When there is a hospital network and they're all using the same CRSTAR database, that each hospital has a different leading number that identifies the hospital that will go in front of the accession number to identify the different hospitals, because each hospital's accession numbers run in the same pattern and everybody will have that same base 9-digit number, but the number in front of it will differentiate the hospital. The classic case identifies the relationship between the reporting hospital, and you're always the reporting hospital, and the patient's diagnosis and treatment. So if we diagnose the patient at Santa Barbara City College Hospital and we did all the patient's first course of treatment, it would be a class of case 14. Your class of cases will be found in your store manual. And so a description of the class of cases will be found in the store manual. So the diagnosis date. So you indicate the date that the cancer was diagnosed. So we're going to say it was 01/02/2024. Okay, now for accession number, you remember I told you you never ever enter an accession number. What you enter is the year that the patient is being accessioned into the registry. Now, it represents either the date the patient was diagnosed with the cancer or the date the patient received, the year the patient received first course of treatment. So let's say, you find an earlier case that was a 2023 case and the patient would have been diagnosed in 2023, then you put 2023 in as the year. Not the actual year you're currently working in. So it represents the date that the patient was diagnosed in or treated, and it's being entered into your registry. Okay. And so we're going to say this patient was diagnosed in 2024. So this is a 2024 case. So the only thing we're entering in the accession number box is 2024. And then we're going to hit the tab key. Once we hit the tab key, you see the system has generated the accession number. So this is the patient's accession number. So this is the number you want to document in your log for the patient. Now, my series of medical record numbers begin with 0, 2024, and 049 is my list of session numbers. And this is actually the second patient that I'm entering into the database. Okay, now once you've entered all this preliminary data, and remember this address on the front screen is the patient's current address, because there are two address data fields. And I'm just going to complete this page to get you in. And so we're going to say save. Anytime you enter data, the button will go to a bright blue to let you know you have to hit save. Once you saved it, it looks grayed out. Now, to get to the next screen, you have to select the select button. And so we're going to hit select, and this brings me to the very next screen. Now, I'm not going to complete anything else on this screen except for the address, which is the address. So on the first screen, the address is where the patient currently lives. Your second screen is the diagnosis address, where the patient was living when the patient was diagnosed with the cancer. If it's the same address, then you're just going to hit the tab key and the system will put that information in for you. Okay. Now, I'm not going to do the rest of this information. This is just showing you how to get entry into the database. Once you get to, and we'll talk about how to complete the rest of this information, and there will be instructions and so forth, and videos about how to complete the next screen and so forth and so on. And then once you hit the select button and got to the second screen, then you can hit the rest of the screens by just going across. So, and remember, it will tell you that it's telling me that I needed to put in other information before I proceeded to the next screen. That's why it didn't allow me to go to the next screen, because it wants topography information and certain data here. It wants me to put in a topography code. So we will talk more about what other data fields you fill in on this page. Know that your text fields are here, which is the primary thing that supports the codes that you will be entering. So you want to know where your text fields are, but we will go over further. I just wanted to get you basically into the CRSTAR, and so you know how to actually access the database. Now, once you say you've gotten, you're done for the day, you're not going to do anything else with the database. So you're going to exit out of your case. And if you had entered anything here, this save button would highlight if there was any additional information you needed to save. And so I'm going to exit. Now, as long as this fields up here are still shaded this dark blue, I can go right back into that case. Okay. Now, once I want to exit for good, I'll exit out, and then you have to log out, which is over here to the left. And I'm going to log out, and it brings me back to my blank CRSTAR screen. And so I'm not going to go over any more information, because videos that are too long, you're not going to take time to listen to them. So we're going to do this sort of screen by screen. There'll be videos for the next screen as we discuss the various information. So again, few things to cover and to remember is that number one, and these are the things that you should tell me once you view this training, so I can give you your access codes and access to the CRSTAR, so you can go in and enter that information on your first screen. Is never contact CRSTAR for any reason in relationship to this program while using CRSTAR at Santa Barbara City College Hospital. The instructors will handle all issues related to CRSTAR as it relates to our database here at Santa Barbara City College, okay? You never want to tell the computer to save your password, because if someone cracks into your computer and you have saved your password, they can access anything where you have saved a password. It allows them direct entry, and we do not want the hospital system compromised. Again, you never create your own accession number. It is generated by the software. You enter the year and hit the tab key, and the system will generate your accession number. This is the login address for CRSTAR, and you can just copy this or hyperlink, click the link hopefully, and get to that page. The instructor will provide you with a username and password to log in, and you will be prompted to change the password that is provided by the instructor. So once you go in, and so if you've already signed in and said you were ready for CRSTAR training, go back in after you watch this video, and then I can give you your medical record number and your username, your complete username, which we've already essentially told you what it would be. And then remember, the last part of your username will always be at ers0503.com. So you want to make sure you write this down, and you want to make sure that you've documented this. Make sure you always document your password in a secure location, and make sure that you're keeping a log of all the medical record numbers, patient names, and a session number as you go along. So this concludes the training for today, the basic entry and basic access to CRSTAR. So have a great day. And I'm going to conclude the training here, and I'm going to stop. And let's see my little database. Okay, so stop recording, and I'm going to